today is the day I will be implementing login with JWT or JSON Web Tokens into the application. So the main thing today actually I want to do is to do two things. Okay, like in the previous video, there are a few things which were unfinished. If I can go to something that happened, okay, that need to be fixed. Okay, so today we're going to do two things: implement login or user authentication using JWT authentication, okay, JWT tokens. And then in addition to that, I'm going to show you how I resolved the issues that I faced in the previous video. So if you watched the previous video, here are the solutions. And oh my god, there were so many. I took almost a long time, almost 4 hours, trying to balance work and this. It was so hectic. Okay, so I will show you one by one what I did to resolve and get the email registration actually working. So let's go to the code and I show you. So the first thing you're seeing here is to install SQL model. So I want to highlight one of them one by one. Okay, the first one here is install SQL model. So if you realize, if I go to, for example, if I close this and I go to models, users.py, okay, we have from SQL model, import SQL model and field, okay, but it had not been installed. So I installed it using UV. Say UV add SQL model. And if you go to my UV pyproject.tomo, you'll see SQL model there. Take note of that. So if you're following along with me and you're building along with me, which is what I suggest you do, please install this. Then after that, I fixed the issue with Docker, okay, which was not seeing. Remember, Docker was saying it was not able to find this format. Let me show you. I close this, open tests, okay, I'm going to test bookings. When you say backend dot, okay, like here backend dot, backend dot crude, backend this, backend dot schemas, Docker was not able to recognize that setting. So what I did was to go into the Docker file and change the settings. Okay, so what happened was this. Okay, because remember initially this slash backend was not there. Okay, it was simply like that, slash app only. Okay, even here workda was simply slash app. So what was happening is that this command code copy was copying everything inside this backend directory, excluding backend. Okay, everything inside here, but without that actual folder. Okay, that caused issues. So when I come here and I say from backend, it fails because there's no backend directory. So what I did was to make sure it is also created. Okay, like so. Okay, say app slash backend, so that everything is copied into backend, and of course the working directory is backend. Then when I'm running the application, I run it from app backend. Okay, and of course we point it to the bin executable FastAPI in the virtual environment. That is what made it to work. Okay, so it was able to find that there's now a backend folder. Initially there was no backend folder. That's why we had that error, and this took me time. I had to just rest and think carefully. Okay, otherwise, trust me, I was going to suffer. I tried to prompt, and even let me show you. Okay, look at this. It says you reach your monthly chat messages quota. I prompted this, and yeah, I learned a hard lesson. Even AI was not able. I had to just rest, take a break, and think about it. All right, so next up, creating a proper init.py file. Okay, if you come here to the init.py file of this, okay, this one here, okay, if we go down, okay, you'll see that there's a init.py, this one here, which is new. Okay, it was not set up correctly previously, so ideally this folder would be hard for Docker to find it. Okay, or I mean Python wouldn't recognize it as a package, just the best thing to say. Then after that, I needed to install passlib. Okay, why passlib? I had not installed it, so if you're following with me, make sure you install it. Passlib is used for doing stuff concerning like hashing and stuff like that. I want to show you, is that in use? Not, should be in utils security. Okay, yes, see, we're using passlib crypt context, what we used yesterday for hashing and verifying passwords. Okay, so that is done. After that, importing and adding session. Okay, so I want to show you where this is, where I had not done it. Okay, that would be if I go to routers, yes, then users, and then I scroll to this. I think this function called create user, it was supposed to take a session. Okay, and this session, where does it come from? It is supposed to be a dependency to this path operation function. Okay, this one, session equals to depends get session. Okay, so a session is returned from this dependency called get session. If I go to get session, you see it simply returns to us a session. Okay, and like we know that a session is simply like an instance, or an instance that gives us connection to the database, as simple as that. So this was missing. Okay, I added a dependency, and if you don't know what a dependency is, I have a live stream, okay, covering all this in detail right from the documentation. Okay, then after that, the session is passed to create user. Okay, so this was also missing. And if you go to create user, you see it takes session as a dependency and uses session to create a user. That's the next thing which was missing. After that, we go to installing Postgres. Okay, not installing Postgres, but installing a Postgres driver, server driver. Okay, it's supposed to be driver. Okay, so if I go to py project.tomo, okay, psychopg binary is the one that is required. Okay, so if I copy this and even just paste here into Google, and I click here, okay, you see they tell you psychopg is the most popular Postgres database adapter for Python programming language. In other words, it helps us to connect Python to a Postgres database. Okay, after that, what we have next is, okay, missing session argument. I've explained that. After that was this passing the right argument. Okay, let me go and show you. So these are just notes. Every time I was fixing something, I was taking note of what I was fixing. Okay, so that when I come into this session, I show you before we go into building the actual application. So I want to show you here. Okay, instead of saying password equals to user in.password, I was saying, where was it? Yes, I was simply saying hashed password equals, I think, was this the place? Let me click and see. Yeah, this is the place I'm referring to. Okay, here, actually here. Instead of saying password equals to hashed password, I was saying hashed password equals to hashed password, which was wrong. It is supposed to be password equals to hashed password. Why? Because if you go into this model called user in DB, it is password. Okay, that's another mistake I did and I fixed it. Then after that, setting up FastAPI email. Okay, so I changed the whole setup of sending emails. If you look at this page here, let me make it big. Okay, I used this tool called FastAPI email after doing some Googling and reading online. Okay, a very good tool for sending emails with FastAPI. This is standard way of sending email with FastAPI. Okay, so I followed their documentation and I implemented it. So let me show you before we go to login. Yeah, and yesterday was a crazy day. Okay, and I've learned, trust me, I've learned a lot from reading and searching on the internet. Trust me, there's no learning that you can do than reading and building a project. It has taught me a lot of things. Okay, especially this being my first. If this was like something like Django, oh my god, that would be too fast. Okay, but yeah, first project I have to learn. So let me show you. If we go to main, where is that project, no, utils, okay, utils, email, okay. This is it, okay. So you see I import FastAPI email connection config. This connection config is where you put the configuration, okay, for sending emails, okay, like the email username, the password, the mail from, the mail port, the mail server, start TLS, true. So this essentially means that we are going to start from, it allows the whole connection to be upgradable, meaning it will start from a less secure connection on our side to a more secure connection. And for that to happen, you have to say mail SSL equals to false, okay? Because if you set true, it will assume this one will fail because it will assume that you're starting from a secure connection to a, still a more a secure, meaning from secure to secure, okay? But if you say this is true, false, this one will work because it will tell the program that you want to set from a less secure system to a more secure, to be upgradable to a more secure system, okay? That's what enables it. Then use credentials simply means use your username and password, okay? Validate sats means validate the SSL certificate of the server that is going to handle sending this, okay? Then also, just to show you one more time, env.example, make sure your env looks like this, having these variables, okay? And I fetch them from this file using this package called .env, okay? From the env called loadenv, and loadenv loads all those environment variables, okay? So these are dummy data, okay? But in my .env, this one here, I have the real information. So make sure you put the correct information like I showed you yesterday. After that, what else do I want to show you? If you go to email.py, okay, I then come here, open this, okay, and I show you the function for sending an email, okay. It receives the subject and recipients, which is a list of email str. We look at this email str, which is simply a validation given to us by Python to validate strings, okay, email strings, and then the body text. Then I create simple HTML, okay, whereby my email would be made up of a subject, okay, then a break, a line break, some space, then the body text, which is this one, then 3 breaks, okay, then a paragraph saying best regards, then another paragraph at the bottom saying a Rebound Ventures team. So then after that, you create an object of message schema, which is also imported from message schema from FastAPI email, okay. Then you pass in the subject, okay, the subject which is an argument to this function. You pass in the recipients, pass in the HTML, which is this, okay. After that, you pass in the type, which is message type.html, okay. Message type is also imported from FastAPI email, okay. And that is it. Why is it HTML? Because my body is going to be made up of HTML. Then after that, you just say FM fast mail. You pass in the configuration. Fast mail also comes from fast mail, okay. And then you say await fm.send message, okay. Then you pass in this entire message, okay. Where do I use this function? At the end of registering a user, okay. So remember from yesterday, when we're registering a user, we first check if that user exists by email. If the user exists, we raise an exception saying the email has already been registered. Otherwise, we create a new user, okay. Then after that, I prepare the subject, I prepare the recipient, okay. I prepare a body message, body text. Then I say background tasks dot add send email sync, okay. So send email sync is this function here, okay, which takes the subject, recipients, and body text, which I just explained to you. And if you come here to this other part, subjects, recipients, body text are simply arguments that are going to be passed to this function. That is how add task works. You mention the function name, including its arguments, like this. How do I have background tasks here? Because it is part of my path operation function up here, okay. And we learned about background tasks in my stream. So yeah, make sure you understand this, okay. So I just wanted to show you everything that I worked on and the fixes, okay. Then this is finally adding volumes, okay. But I think I'll explain this probably later, how Docker volumes work. Okay. All right, so let's go to login. Okay, let's now start implementing login. Let me make this a bit smaller. Oh, scroll. So login. So how we're going to log in is this. Okay, the client will give us. Okay, will give us two things. Okay, their email. Okay, and again, a client could be a mobile app. Client could be someone using a browser on their tablet, whatever. Okay, one other API, etc. Okay, the email and password. Okay, and then when we get them on the backend in our API, our FastAPI REST API, we first start by, of course, validating. Pindatic will help us with the validation. Okay, we validate that it's actually an email. Okay, then after that we can maybe check like maybe password length, but I didn't implement it for registration. Maybe I'll do it later. Okay, so that people have strong passwords. Then after that we check. Okay, we check if this person exists in the database. Okay, we do check if the person exists in the database, then generate a token. Okay, we generate a token and return it to the user. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. So let's get started with that implementation. So yeah, I guess maybe I need to first show you that register works. Okay, so let me run. Okay, that is now running. And if you don't have enough RAM, this thing can really be a headache. Okay, this folder here, but empty. I don't need it. I was using it to create a volume, but I'll explain to you volumes soon. So let it run. What is so funny is that in the first stream, okay, if you look at the recording for the first stream, there were so many people who are watching it. But after that, being consistent is something really, really hard that people do. Okay, so it looks like it's okay. So if I go to the browser, okay, say localhost 8000/docs. Okay, now you see we have our hello endpoint and the register endpoint. Okay, so if I try it out, okay, and I execute, say execute, okay, you see the user has been created. I'm getting the ID and the email. Response 200. If I execute again, you see detail email already registered. Someone try with an email which is known, an example, and I maybe show you that I've received the message, okay, in my email. So maybe you can say, try to put that, Kamal Nehemiah +9 at gmail.com. So I'll remove example.com, okay, and I execute. You see, I get the ID and the email, okay. Okay, so it's working. So if I open Gmail, I should be able to see that email sent. And there we are. See, says welcome to Airbound Ventures. Hello, Kamal Nehemiah plus blah 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 blah. Let me make this bigger for you to see. Thank you for registering with us. We are excited to have you on board. Best regards, Airbound Ventures team. So yeah, now you know that I got it to work, and it is very successful. Yeah, so if you're liking this video, if you like what is going on, yeah, you can like the video and subscribe and share it with your friends so that they can learn. So if I close the email and I try to execute again, you see detailed email already registered. So yeah, it's working. Okay, so what we need to do next is to implement login. So maybe I need to commit this. Okay, clear, say git status. Since I'm working alone, I'll not create a branch. Let me just risk it all. Okay, there's no sensitive file I'm going to put in version control. So I'll git add everything. Okay, then I git commit and I say let's say feature, okay, feature register user with email and password, okay. Then after I can simply push it. All right, look at that. Rough failed. We're back into that, okay. So there's something wrong with the way I've written my formatting, okay. Try to commit again, you see it fails, okay. Says one error. So is that error, okay. Says in test blah 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 from backend import app routers. So there's in test bookings, okay, this file, okay. So there's something. So what could be wrong, okay. There's also something wrong with this, okay, with this line, okay. Even this one, okay, not this one here. There's something wrong with this line. I don't know that, is it space, okay, or how I've written it. Then it says there's also something wrong with this other one here, okay. So I don't know whether it's space or whatever, okay. Then says expected string or URL object, but got none. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I'll fix this later. Let me not bore you with linting. Okay, let us implement that. The good thing is that you see that registration is working. Okay, let's go ahead. Actually, I can even like maybe disable that for now, commit, then continue. Okay, so let us go on to registration. Okay, because actually if you look at the pre-commit, I was expecting it to have fixed it. Okay, because we have this. So that is more work for me to go and study. Are you seeing at this rough check fix? Maybe if I do for format, it will also work. Okay, let me try to do this and see. Ags fix. I don't know whether format has fix. Okay, but I'm just guessing. Okay, let us see. Pre-commit. Do I have to install again? Pre-commit install. Command not found. Pre-commit install. Okay, let me try to. Is not staged. Let me stage it. Okay, still, actually it will complain about that line. Okay, you see, try tip to pass fix as a value, use that. Okay, so let's try to do this. Okay, if it works, then I'll be lucky. If it doesn't, trouble. This is unexpected argument fix. Let me remove it. Okay, let's try and see. This is crazy. Now I'm wishing I tried to commit earlier and tested it. Okay, let's copy that and see if it will work. If it doesn't, then we continue to log in. Okay, so they said do that. Okay, minus fix. I hope this is it. Okay, let's try it add and commit. Okay, it didn't. Okay, it didn't. So I'll leave it for now. Okay, and I'll do that. I'll fix it on my own, then share with you later in the next video. Let's continue. Yeah, this is what happens when you're learning things for the first time. Okay, you get to make so many mistakes and you have to learn live. Okay, so let's go on to login. I see the chat and it says how you take care of blacklist tokens. If someone tries to log in, how do you make it expired before expiry when the user logs out before expiry time? Yeah, so for blacklist tokens and ad such, you can use a database. Okay, but I've not even implemented that. Okay, maybe I'll implement it. Okay, if it's a requirement, okay? But simply you can store tokens in the database and then you can blacklist them, okay? So I need to adjust the screen here so that I know that everything is going on. So I hope I've answered your question. We need to code. I can't see certain things I want to see. That's the problem on this screen, okay? But ideally, what we need to do, okay, is what we studied when we're learning again FastAPI Live, okay? So if I go to users, not users, it has to be routes. So using routers, users.py, okay? I'm going to create one for getting a token. So when you register, okay, here I'll have another one to be an async def function. I'll call it let's call it login, okay? And if we need later, we can change it, okay? Login, and for now I can return simply a string, okay? Like that, okay? And fix the indentation. And here I'll say at router dot post, okay? So I'll press tab to follow what AI is saying. And at such says DB storing SHLD, then TTL comes into picture. Any other better approach? What JWT ID concurrent logins by user? I'm not sure I understand what SHLD means. TTL, that time to live, okay? You can consider time to live and all those things when doing this kind of stuff. So let's continue, okay? So quickly, I'm going to save this, and because we included our router, if you go to main.py, okay, main.py, you see I said router app.include users.router, okay? And by the something I forgot to tell you earlier is that also I created this function called startupdb, okay, which calls the function initdb, okay, and creates an event called startup. So every time the API starts up, okay, we call this function initdb, and as you can see, on event has been cancelled out, strike through, meaning it has been deprecated, okay. I'm going to study what is the appropriate method to use, but for now it works that on startup, okay, call this function. If you go to initdb, it simply does what we learned when we're studying about SQL databases, okay? Simply creates all our tables, okay? As simple as that, using the engine, okay? And you know that the database URL comes from our environment. So, okay. So with this, we should be able to see it in the automatic documentation. So, but again, because I've not set up something called volumes, every time I want to test, okay, I have to literally rebuild the whole thing, okay, which is not ideal. So yeah, since I'm learning all this live with you, if you have an idea, you can tell me how to set up a volume right now. But I'm going to try to search about it maybe later so that I can always have I don't have to always build the image. Okay, so this should come up, okay, and as it's building, I wanted to show you something, okay? When we're learning FastAPI Live, okay, the things that we studied about, okay? Look, using this auth to password bearer is what we're going to use, okay? The password flow of authenticating a user, okay? This is what we're going to use, this auth to password bearer stuff, okay? That's what we're going to use. So, is it done? Okay, yeah, it's done. So I can close this, go back to the documentation. And if I refresh, you see now we have login, okay? But of course it's not implemented, okay? If I say try it out, and I execute, you see we simply get an empty string, which is what we have right here. Okay, so I need to fix it. Okay, again, the screen keeps telling me network is shuffling and I need it to be stable. Okay, so one thing you need to know that is that JWT, like, I mean, not JWT, but FastAPI does not like do JWT automatically. Okay, you need to wire it up using the OAuth2 password flow. Okay, with the bearer token, and that's what we studied about last time. Okay, so probably I am going to come here, okay, and go to security utils, okay, security, okay. This way I'm going to create it, okay. So I'll say from FastAPI.security, okay, import, okay, the OAuth to password bearer, as simple as that, okay. And I am going to create an instance of it, okay, right in this file. So I'll say OAuth to okay, underscore scheme. This has to be lowercase underscore scheme. So is what AI is saying, okay, saying token URL equals token. So we can also call it token, okay. So I can copy this and change this one. So it will look for this path, okay, called token, okay. And actually, if you go back to the documentation, if I search for token, okay, you'll see they have it, okay. And if you go to their advanced, is it get current user or the full one? Okay, this one here. Let me see, is it token slash? I want to see, I'm trying to find where they have it. Okay, you see it's here. Okay, they created an endpoint doing that, and for it they're using a form. Probably we may not need to use that. Okay, but you get the point. Okay, so you can simply call out also token, okay, like that. And then like I told you, FastAPI does not do JWTs automatically for us. Okay, we're going to wire it up using this. Okay, using this OAuth2 password bearer. Okay, this scheme. So what we need to do, maybe to issue tokens on login, we need to create a function which will be responsible for creating access tokens. Okay, so in security still, let me close this and put it down. Okay, down here I'm going to create a function, okay, called create underscore. Is this visible? Let me check on the screen just a moment. Go live. Okay, you can see it. Create access underscore token. Okay, like that. And I think to just give us data, this data can be maybe a dictionary. Okay, maybe I could change it. Okay, then inside this function we can do certain things. Okay, we shall copy that data, create a copy of it. Okay, so that we don't. Wow, I like how AI is completing it for me. So I'll just press tab. Yeah, so data to encode will be equal to this data dot copy, create a copy of it. Okay, then we shall need to set up the expiry time when this token will expire. What is AI saying? No, that's not what I want. I want to use date time. So from date time, import date time and time delta. Yeah, so I'll take AI's suggestion. Let us see if AI can read my mind. Date time dot UTC now. Okay, like that. Okay, plus what's this? Plus time delta. Okay, the current time, and I'm going to add it. So there equals to that 30 minutes. Okay, but this should be time. This should be into a variable. Okay, maybe I can call it access token expire minutes, like that. Okay, it's like AI has suggested, and I come up here and define it maybe like goes to maybe 30 minutes. Okay, let me call it maybe 60 minutes, something like that. Okay, but this should come from I'll put here a comment so that I remember. Should come from environment variable. Okay, because I don't want to type into my environment variable right now. Okay, so that you don't see the secrets, because there's some secrets I've put there right now. So it says this has been deprecated. Says etc in date time is deprecated. Use time where objects represent this by calling dot now time zone date time dot time zone. It is so they're saying I do something like this: date time dot now dot wow, I've already forgotten chicken memory. So I said date time dot etc now. So I want to see what they're saying. If I hover, they said date time dot time zone. Okay, say date time dot time, but I don't see time zone. Okay, dot time zone dot UTC, but it's not recognizable. Okay, it's not recognizing it. So maybe I'll resolve this later. Let me first use what I know. Okay, I'll handle all these deprecations later, because I know this has been deprecated, but it will still work. If you can and you know, you let me know. Okay, then I'll say data to encode. Okay, dot update. Okay, I'll autocomplete what AI has given me. Okay, so I'm updating this dictionary with the key called expire. I mean exp, which is the JWT. How are they creating their? They must have a function here for creating tokens. So I want to copy like what they did. But I'm seeing fake token. Okay, I remember like they had a real one. Okay, let me go to this other page. Okay, aha, this is what I was looking for. Pi JWT. Okay, so I'm also going to add it. Okay, so I'll kill this server and say and clear and say uv add Pi JWT. Just check the chat to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. So yeah, that has been added successfully. If I go back to this documentation, of course they have parslib, which we have. I want to see how they're going to create their token. Okay, they have authenticate user. Now how they have create access token. Okay, so you see there they do the same thing. Okay, so all I need is this. Okay, this statement here is what I'm looking for actually. Okay, so I can come here. Okay, and I paste it there. Okay, so to encode is this data. Okay, then the secret key, okay, is something that should come from the environment also. Okay, so let's say equals to none for now. Then the algorithm, okay, come here and say algorithm equals to, and I'll use the same. What are they using? Okay, I'll search this page for algorithm. Basically implementing what these people have here. Okay, you see the same, this one here. Okay, equals to this. Okay, then the key, okay, the key something like this. Okay, so I'll just copy this one, but after this stream I'm going to change. Okay, I'm going to put it into my environment. I'm going to create a special key. Okay, and I think they gave a solution for how to create it. Okay, I'm using this thing called saying open SSL rand -x hat 32. If I copy this, okay, and I come here to my time and I run it, okay, you see I get a key. Okay, and I can copy it and put it here like so. Okay, but this should come from environment variables. So ideally this one here should be this. Okay, should be should come here and I say import OS, okay, and it will be os.get env, okay, and that value should be access token expires in minutes, okay. So in my .env, which are not open because it has some secrets, okay, but I'll show you from this example, I should have something like that, like this, okay. Then, so I'll comment out this one because I wanted to show you what is the correct thing to do. For the secret, also, secret key should be equals to os.getEnv secret key, okay. So I'll remove this, okay, like that. So in my .env, I should have this, something like this, okay. Then with the secret key, like I've told you, I am going to change it after this stream. I'm just showing you what to do, okay. Then after that, for the algorithm, should also be something similar. os.env.get algorithm, okay. I'll remove this as a default, no need for the default. So I come here, same thing, paste, okay. So I'll put similar values like this in my .env. So make sure you do the same. So I'll comment out this, comment out this one too, and leave this, okay. Just have a working example for this stream. All right. So after we have encoded, okay, this is actually the actual creation of the JWT, okay. I can now return the encoded JWT, okay. And if you look at this implementation, if I look for create access token, okay, you see we have a similar implementation, okay. Copying the data, adding some time, adding this expire stuff, okay, expiry time, and then encoding, and finally returning, okay. So I'm simply following what is in the docs, okay. So I hope you guys are learning something. Just checking. So ensure. All right, so yeah, we can now continue, okay. Just checking that everything is okay. Okay, now if you look at this, okay, they have a method called get current user, okay. They have a function here called authenticate for hashing, get user from DB, okay. They have the actual login, okay. So I am going to use this kind of stuff, okay, for this function here. Since we have a method for creating the access token, okay. When you log in, okay, we should be able to return a token, okay. So if I search for token here, okay, and I do Control F like this, okay, and I go up, no, I need token, I'm looking for token, okay. I want to have a similar class like them. Are you seeing this? Okay, having access token and token type, okay. So I'll copy it, come here, I want to look for that class where we're having models, okay. So where is models? Here in models, maybe I need to create something called auth, okay, where we have models for authentication, okay. Say auth.py, then I paste it, okay. Then of course there's an error. I have to come here and I say from Pindatic import base model, okay. So yeah, that should be okay. Then here I can now import it, okay. And say from backend dot models dot auth import, what are we importing? Token, okay. Importing token. Is it called token? Let me open it and see. Yes, so called token, simple as that. Then I'll say here the return type, okay, is going to be token. Okay, so if I go down, my mind is now starting to get tired. Okay, where are we going? Where are we going? This, okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm referring to. Okay, token with a full colon. Okay, wow, are you seeing this, guys? This I'm doing it on the path operation decorator. It's supposed to be here on the path operation function. That's how you know a tired mind. Okay, losing attention to detail. So we shall return a token. Okay, so I'm going step by step so you understand this. After that, we can use this password form. Okay, but let me just do it simple. Okay, do it simple and require. Okay, let's use this password request password form. Okay, so if I copy this and I search for it, you'll see where they imported it from. Okay, from FastAPI security, import the same thing. Okay, so I can use it to, okay, come here and say we're going to expect from data. So like you see, because I'm also new to this, I'm actually struggling. Okay, I can't pick things from memory. Okay, it is hard when you're doing it for the first time. From FastAPI, I also need annotated. Okay, then from FastAPI dot security, yeah, looks like they've now known what we want. We want that form. Okay, so I'll come here and I say form underscore data. Okay, annotated square brackets. Okay, what do I need? Well, it's going to need that the form. Okay, and it's going to depend. Okay, so we need depends. Okay, so it's going to be dependency. This. Okay, but this annotated comes from, I think, Pindatic, not FastAPI. Okay, from Pine, is it from Pindatic? Pindatic import annotated. Wow, I'm forgetting. Let me check up here. This is from typing, guys. Oh my god. So you see, you don't need to cram the things. So here we shall say depends. And I hope you remember what this means. This simply means now when you do this kind of syntax, FastAPI will be fast and smart enough to know that the type of form data is this. But when it sees this metadata called depends, it will know that this is also a dependency. Okay, it's both a type and a dependency. And there's no time to go into details of this, but you can watch the live stream when we talk about dependencies. Okay, advanced dependencies and dependencies. You'll get it very well. Then after that, yes, so I'm done with this part. I want to authenticate. Okay, I want this. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Okay, and I'll paste it here and then I modify. Okay, and you're going to see how I'm going to modify it. Okay, I am going to create a function called authenticate user, but instead of fake users DB, it is going to have to take a session. Okay, just like you see here. Okay, in register, I'll copy this. So I want to reuse it. Okay, and of course, when this code is formatted, it will make all this easier to read. Okay, expected parameter name. What is going on? Looks like I'm even forgetting Python, guys. Okay. Okay. Auth. Oh, I made a mistake. I've seen it. Okay. I put it inside the square bracket. Okay. It's supposed to be comma, then next line, I paste the session. Okay. So instead of the fake users DB, it's going to give us the session of our database. Okay. And then now I can implement authenticate user. Okay. So authenticate user, I'll put it in another file. Where is it? Utils, security. Okay. I'll come here and import, say, define authenticate user. Okay. And you should have exactly all this. Okay. All these. Okay. So you can just come here and copy their implementation. Okay. Then we're going to adjust it. Okay. So it actually, you see here, it makes use of get user. Okay. Which is this. Okay. And yeah, I'll make mine faster. Okay. So yeah, so define of it, but now this time it's going to take a session. Okay. Session like that. I want to give it a type. Okay. I want to give it a type. I think did I do something like that? If I go to CRUD users, are you seeing this? This type annotation is what I want. Okay. So I'm going to import session. The things can get confusing and you wonder what can I put where. Okay. But since I'm learning and it's my first API project, I have the liberty to fail. So this will be of type session like that. Okay. Then the user, okay, that is okay. That's okay. But this one, ideally, what we're getting is actually an email. Okay. It's an email. So I'll rename it to, I'll leave it like that. Then get user. To get the user, I'm going to use logic that we wrote previously. Okay. So you're seeing I'm just going to use what we have, okay, initially. So I'll go to users, okay. This function, I think this function called get user by email, okay. I am going to use it, okay. So I'll come here and I say from CRUD, from backend dot CRUD dot users import get user by email, okay. So I'm going to come here and replace it with this, okay. Instead of fake DB, it will take the session ID, okay, and also the email, this one here, okay, like that, okay. So you see how it's coming up. But you have to have knowledge, okay. And one thing now I think you're all realizing is that learning is different from building a project. I'm even learning more by actually implementing, okay. So get user by email, okay. So if not user, okay, if there's no user, so again this authenticate user comes from sorry, from our login function, okay. We get the username, forgive me, okay, which is the email in our case, okay. Of course, in the front end we shall change it to be email, okay. But according to the OAuth 2 specification, you have to name it as username, okay. But in the front end form, we shall change the name to email, okay. Have that in your mind. So we pick the form, the username and the password, and we pass a database session, okay, to authenticate user, okay. So I need to import it from, I hope this is correct. Sometimes AI can hallucinate stuff. Okay, yeah, correct. Authenticate user is there. Okay, so this is now resolved. Okay, so now I go back to authenticate user. If not user, I return false. Then after that, I have to verify the password. So verify password will use this function. Okay, this one here. Okay, let me see. Hash password code verify. Okay, that will do. Okay, so this function also still works. Okay, says taking the plain password which we have got, okay, and then give us when you give us the user, we also check for their password. But of course, this is not If you remember, I did not name it actually hashed password. I just named it password, okay? But we know that we are hashing it. To show you that, if I go back, just to remind you, if I go to create user, okay? Create user, you see we are hashing password and we're saying password equals to hashed password. We're not calling it hash password, but later, of course, we can improve and change some of the things, okay? So if I go back to security, it will be user.password, okay? And if the verification fails, we still return false, okay? So let us see what they have here, okay? So they also return false in both cases. Otherwise, they return a user, okay? So here, otherwise, they return a user. So that step of authenticating a user is okay, okay? We get a user by their email, okay? Using a database session, okay? Using session object, which helps us to connect, which ideally is like a connection to our database, okay? And then if the user doesn't exist, false. If the user exists, we verify the password. If the password is wrong, we return false. Otherwise, return that user that we have got from the database, okay? To show that things are okay. Then, after that, the next step, if we go back to this function here, login for access, okay? The next thing they do is this check, okay? Which I'm also going to do, okay? This here, okay? Here, after using the function authenticate, I'll paste that code, okay? I don't know why Copilot is not AI is not suggesting for me stuff. Maybe because I've used my all my tokens. Okay. If I show you here, it says you have reached your monthly chat messages quota. Upgrade to Copilot Pro. I'm like, no. If this doesn't work, I'll use something else. Okay. Yeah, maybe someday I'll pay for these tools. Okay, but not now. Actually, something called WAP, which maybe we shall use soon. Okay, but let's continue. So if not user, okay, if this is false, okay, is or falsy, we use an exception saying status code equals to uh unauthorized, okay, incorrect username or password. Maybe we can say email or password, something like that, because on the front end, maybe the front end developer would want to show this message exactly. Okay, so let's say email or password. Since on the front end we're going to show email on the form and not username. Okay, but I hope you understand why we are saying username here, because that's what auth to scheme requires us to do. So after that, if we go back to this documentation, they now do the check for the create expiry time. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, and paste it there. Okay, so I need to import time delta first. Okay, so I'll say from date time. And again, I know that time delta is from this time because I've done this for some time. Okay, if you don't know, you Google or search. Okay, like you've seen me hustling and failing, and then we have this access token expires time. Okay, so like I told you, it has to come from the environment variables. So from if I go to security here, we have it here. Okay, so I just want it to be defined in one place. So probably I'll just import it from here. Okay, but there should be a better way of doing it whereby I maybe have those constructs in one place. Okay, so let me just get it to work. Let it work, then later I can change it. Guren, hello, how are you doing? Is that how you pronounce your name? Is it Guren or is it Ogaren? Where are you watching from? And thank you for being active. Okay, I don't know whether other people are still here, like Adnan and Linus today is quiet. Okay, where are you watching from, Guren? Actually, let me show you something interesting, guys. Okay, if I go to YouTube, okay, to the playlists, you're going to see something interesting. Okay, look at the first video, day one. Okay, about 720 people found this interesting. Okay, they watched it. Day two, people dropped. Okay, day three, people dropped, and right now about 4 to 10 people are watching. Okay, I see the number dropping between 10, like that. Why? Being consistent is not easy. Okay, being consistent is not easy. That's why you see these numbers like this. So if you're here, you should give yourself a pat on the back, okay? And it's what makes the difference between people, okay? Guren is from Tunisia. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I hope life in Tunisia is good, and coding life there is very okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you for joining the stream. And Guren, of course, if you're a senior developer and you've written FastAPI before, feel free to give me advice. Okay. This is my first time building a FastAPI project. Okay. All right. So I'll continue. So yeah, I have quoted the time the access token is going to expire, okay, using time delta. It will expire in this number of minutes, okay, which is 60 for now. And then after that, they create an access token, okay, which is also what I want to do, okay. I also want to create an access token. I'll paste it there, okay. But now we need this function, create access token. It's still here in security, okay. Are you seeing it? It's here, create access token, okay. So we need to import it. Okay, so I'll come back here and I say from, okay, looks like AI is smart. But since these are from the same file, I need to put both of them side by side like that. Okay, create access token. Okay, after that, what next? This, you simply return the token. Okay, return the token like that. Very simple. Okay, why token? Because here, remember at the beginning, the return type, the return type for this function, this path operation function, okay, is token. Okay, and if I go to token, its implementation, you see it is simply a pandatic base model having an access token and a token type. Each of them are strings. Okay, so I can say access token equals to access token, okay, which is this one here, and the token type equals to bearer. Okay, so this should work ideally. Okay, if it fails, we debug. Okay, so let me try to run. Okay, and again, I need to find a way to run this with, like, for it to auto refresh without me having to do it to build again. And the idea is by using what they call uh them volumes, okay, Docker volumes. But I need to understand what they are properly. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I think this looks pretty good for now. And there we are. We have an error. Okay, says module backend CRUD router, says import cannot import get user by email from partially initialized. Okay, where is that coming from? Utils security. Yeah, it is rare, especially when you're coding something for the first time. Okay, to be very accurate. Okay, get user by email, is it here? Okay, so have we imported it correctly? I knew AI would mislead us. Let me confirm. Okay, if I go to security, from, I think this is wrong. Okay, get user by email. Wait, I think it's actually there. Okay, let's read this error. Okay, says import cannot name from partially initialized. Most likely do a circular import. Okay, so let's see if I go to users. Okay, no, this is for the route. If I go to routers, close this, CRUD users. Okay, minimize this. So we have, for creating a user, and we have get email, okay, by user. Okay, so this is being used here. Okay, Okay. So if this is failing, that's okay. Okay. What I can do, I can redefine it elsewhere just to get it to work. Okay. So okay, you can see they say it's line 7, which is failing. Let me just scroll out to see if there's any other error. They say from backend dot routers import users. Okay. Get user by email. Okay. So they're saying that could cause a circular input because you see we're importing it here. Okay. Then if you go to routers, oh my god, we have so many modules here that I'm even getting lost. Do we have it imported here? Are you seeing this? Actually, this is from the same thing. So I can just copy this and say comma that. Okay. And where are we using this? Okay. Yeah, we're using it here for registration. Okay. And then are we using it inside here? No. Okay. So okay, that is one. I need to figure out. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay. I am going to go to its implementation. Okay. Get user by email. Okay. Get its logic. Okay. Later, of course, I'm going to fix this. Okay. I just want to get things working right now. Okay. On this stream, at least today, if I have luck, and go to where was it? Where was the complaint? Here. Okay. Remove it. Okay. Save. Okay. Then come here. Okay. And do this. Okay. So from SQL model, I need to import something called select. Okay. Remove that one. For this to work, then we need user in DB. I'll say from models. Okay. I followed AI. I hope it does not trick me one more time. So user in DB, I do that. Then I say user is equals to this. Let us see. If it doesn't, then I'll do like I did yesterday. End the stream and then solve it after. Because I see it's actually past an hour, not almost, but past an hour since this started. And I want to prevent burnout. Yeah. So I think now you understand why most YouTubers prefer to record their videos and edit them, then upload instead of doing things live. Okay. So we have another error saying module not found. No module named models. From .models, I knew AI would mislead me. From backend .models.users. And what is, you see, that's the thing about AI. Okay, creating code that looks almost correct. Okay, and you even find it difficult to not to doubt it. And it actually, if you remember, I distrusted it. I was like, no, this could be wrong. So let's try to fix maybe 2 more bugs in case there are many. And then I can call it a day and show you the approach next time. But yeah, I think now you get the core logic of how the whole thing works. There we go. Looks like it's gonna work now. Okay, there's no error. Okay, no error so far. So let's try come to automated documentation, run, go to login. Okay, so you see the type is application x www form URL encoded. whereas for this one is application JSON. So if I try it out, okay, supposed to put a username and a password. So I want to use something which exists, okay. If I say try it out, okay, and execute, okay, you see email already registered. So let's try with this email and password, okay. Copy this email. Remember the password is called string, okay. Come here, username is that, password, I type string. Come on, string. If you don't understand what scope, client ID, secret, grant type, please watch the live stream where I had an explanation of OAuth 2 in detail for all this. We looked at it from actually the documentation. So execute, says internal server error. I was going to celebrate if everything worked without an error, okay? Says user in DB object has no attribute username. Yeah, and I agree. So why did where is it failing from? Where am I trying to pass a username? Which line is failing? Can that at least point us to the line? Yes, I know actually if you go to user in DB, you'll see has ID, email, password. Okay. There is no username. So where are we using it? Let me go to users.py. Not here. Not schemas, but routers. Looks like there's a place I'm trying to use it to access a username. So sub data, okay, routers, users.py, line 52. Here. You see, guys, this is a disadvantage of copying and pasting. I copied from the documentation, okay? If you remember this, okay? This thing user.username. This is wrong. I want to say user.email is the correct one, actually. Okay. So unfortunately for me, because I've not set up volumes, I have to build this again from scratch. So, but it looks like we are on the way to success, because if it has failed at this point only, then yeah, this other one will work. Yeah, so this is actually how programming is, guys. Trust me, for 90% of software developers in the world, when you look at people writing tutorials, because they have had many notes and they have edited and repeated and repeated and repeated. Actually, one time I was creating a tutorial for, I think, is it Django Ninja, and I had to repeat and repeat to make it clean and edit out parts, mistakes, and whatever. So now you know that I'm human, okay? Is it running? Okay, it's running. So I can come here and execute again. We have another error. It says create access token got unexpected keyword argument expires delta. This one here. Okay, let's just see what ours has. Again, it's because I copied things. Okay, so we're supposed to simply send a dictionary. Okay, wow. So look at how this is for the expiry time. Okay, so I don't need, since my expiry time is being set here. Okay, all right, we can also have it here. Okay, I can say copy this. Okay, and say expires delta is of type time delta, okay, or none. Okay, So yeah, this is correct, what AI has given us. So I can say, just like they did, okay? Let me look at their logic. My mind is tired, okay? Expires underscore delta. You see what they did here, okay? Just going to copy this. And I hope I don't pay again for copying and pasting, okay? Paste it here, okay? Then, so if we have this expires delta, okay? We build the time zone, okay? And where are they importing time zone from? I'm curious, because I need to do the same thing. Time zone from time delta. Okay, interesting. I also come here, I mean from date time, import time zone. Then I say, okay, if expires delta, time zone dot now plus expires delta, this one here, which is coming, okay? Otherwise, it will be this plus, I'll copy all this, okay? Like that, okay? Oh, actually, let me not do what they're doing, okay? Why don't I have my own implementation of this, okay? I should have my own implementation of this, okay? So this is what I'm going to do, okay? Enough of copying and pasting. I'm going to remove, that way, this makes it dynamic, okay? You can always change the time. You can either pass the time or not, okay? So in this case, I'm not going to pass the time, okay? Like that. I'm not going to pass the time. I'm going to only pass the data like this, okay? The sub, okay, to user.email, and then here, okay, it will of course know that it can be none, okay, meaning it is default value is none, meaning it is optional, okay, and we can have the expires delta or not, okay, in the else. And that means I can come up here and remove this one here. And also this time delta can be removed from up. So if I scroll down, yeah, this looks clean, okay? Creating an access token, I simply pass this, the data, okay? And when it comes here, it should be able to use, yeah, that. So let me cancel that. Try to build the image again. I guess today I've had more success than yesterday. Come and look at this. Just to see if there's any issue I might have left out. Okay, looks like it's running. Come back here. The docs, execute. Voila. Today, I'm not canceling the stream without success. So you see, we have the access token and we have the token type bearer. Yeah, pretty nice. Wow. But yeah, maybe pre-commit is the only thing that is failing me, because I was supposed to make a commit for user registration, then a commit for login. So I guess I'll just do them at once, since I'm learning what pre-commit is all about. So yeah, this has been a good stream. Okay, so yeah, how does login work? We use the auth password to request form, okay, which expects the username and password. Okay, so it is named username because that's what the specification commands us to do. But we know that in the front end, we shall tell them to enter an email. Okay, and of course, here to get the data, we shall say from data.username, from data.password. Okay, to a function called authenticate user, which accepts the username, which we know is the email, and the password, and the database session. Okay, and session comes from get session. This get session function. Okay, that you remember from yesterday. And then we use this function called authenticate user, which simply selects a user. We are using the email. Okay, using the email. Okay, and if the user does not exist, we say false. If the user exists, we need to verify their password. If the password verification passes, we return. Even if password verification fails, we return false. Otherwise, we simply return the user. Okay, and this function called verify password is simply up here. Okay, using passlib. Okay, Then after that, we check if there's no user, of course, from this function, we raise an exception, okay? Otherwise, we simply create a token and return the token to the user, which they can use on other requests, okay? And of course, we have here the create access token function, okay? Which okay, simply gets the data, takes in data, okay, which we shall use to encode, and the time the token will expire, okay? So we get a copy of that data, okay? And if you've given us time, okay, we simply say that the expiry time will be the current time plus the expiry time you've given us. Otherwise, if you've not given us time, we create an expiry time for our own cells, which is the current time plus a certain number of minutes, okay? Of course, it can be days, whatever, okay? If according to what you want. And token expires should come from environment variables, okay? It's right up here. And I told you after this stream, I'm going to remove this hard coding and replace it with these comments. Even the secret key, I'll remove it and replace it with this, okay? And I'll create a new one. Even the algorithm will come from the environment variable. So take note of that, okay? So when you're creating your applications, make sure it comes from the environment variable. And I showed you an example of that file, okay? Using, where is it? .env.example. This one here, okay? Take note of this. So your file will look like this. And this tool called, I think that is it. And maybe something in addition to that, we shall need it when you load them from environment variable, make sure you use, there's this tool I want to show you. It's an email, okay? I mentioned it at the beginning, called .env, okay? Make sure you call loadenv, okay? Before you do anything like os.environment.get. Very important, don't forget. All right, so then after that, of course, we create the token, then we return the token. And this token is simply a pandatic base model, okay? Which is here, as simple as that. So yeah, this has been a successful stream where I began by showing you the fixes for the bug I faced yesterday. And in addition to that, I then showed you implementation for login, okay, using actually what we learned, okay? So yeah, maybe again to show you a little bit. If I say execute, then we get an access token, okay? And it's very okay and fine. What is missing? If I go to register, yeah, register is okay. Yeah, so success. We can now register and we can log in. Okay, someone talked about blacklisting. Maybe I'll implement blacklisting tokens later. So yeah, the project is coming up slowly by slowly. Okay, so in the next video, I want to implement something different. Now we're going to do searching flights. So if you like this video, please subscribe, share it with people, and yeah, and like it so that people can find it on this platform. So in the next video, we should talk about using the Amadeus API, working with Redis, yeah, creating that endpoint for now, viewing flight data. Like someone is going to enter their origin, destination, etc., and they can search for flights. That's what we're going to do next. So yeah, this has been successful so far, and I'm liking everything. Okay, of course later I'll learn about best practices and improve this code step by step. So thank you everybody for watching and learning together with me. See you in the next video or live stream. Bye for now.